This is a tutorial on how to make these earrings, basically mostly from scratch. There's also no tools required. So the things you need for this are seed beads of like any color, larger beads. I have like these are glass opal beads, I think. This is notebook wire. Like I said earlier, earring hooks, nail clipper, skinny screwdriver, fat screwdriver, and jump rings are optional. Before you start, you probably want to make up your pattern, and for that you get a piece of notebook wire, straighten it, cut it with your nail clipper, and bend it like this so that it doesn't slip, and then you can like try out different arrangements of beads on it. I did this yesterday already, and I came up with like these 5. So yeah, this just like gives you an idea of like which one you think looks the best before you actually commit to a design. We're gonna string these beads on to the wire from the bottom to the top, and I'll explain why later. So we'll start with this blue seed bead down here and this big bead, so on. So before you start stringing them on, you want to straighten it a bit with your finger. Notebook wire tends to not be very straight, especially right after you've taken it off. But just get it as straight as you can. It doesn't have to be like perfect, I guess, because we'll straighten it as we strain them on because that works well. These seed beads tend to go on easily. Make sure to get the 6/0 size because those are easy to string onto wire. Those are pretty common though. Then we have this opal glass bead. These have smaller holes than the seed beads, so they are a bit more challenging to string on, but this is what I mean when I say you straighten it as you string it. Kind of like just grab the bead really hard and straighten the wire so that it'll fit. Okay, sometimes the end is extremely bendy like this, and it's really hard to work with, so what you gotta do there is just cut the end off. It's not worth trying to deal with that. Okay. And now this is a lot more manageable. There's still these bends where your bead gets stuck, and you just strain it like that, get past the bend, and it's good to go. Basically just always have to straighten in the direction that'll give your bead a straight path. So, okay, there we go. Got it. Okay. Next bead is another one of these big ones. Even if you've like straightened a path for this bead before, while you're like straightening it over here, it'll probably get bent here, so you pretty much have to straighten out a new path for each bead, but it's okay. Okay, now your next step is push these in enough so that there's about an inch of space here. Maybe a little more than an inch, because this is an inch and it's not really enough. That looks about right. And now this is why we strung these on from the bottom to the top of the design. So if you see this earring here, this is the bottom, this is the top. The bottom loop thing can look however you want it to. It doesn't matter if it's like not lopsided or like symmetrical or whatever. It can be like lopsided, asymmetrical, whatever. This top loop has to be very like perfect. Not exactly perfect, just like if it was lopsided, this wouldn't hang well, and it would like basically be like sort of like, it would look awkward. And the bottom doesn't need to be like symmetrical or anything because it's not like the part that's hanging from the hook, so it doesn't really matter. So the idea is this is the bottom of our earring, this is the top, and we're gonna make this top loop first. If we messed up, we can cut it with this nail clipper, push these in, start over. If this had been the bottom side and this was the top, if we do this side, it could be however we want. Then if we mess this up, we have to start the entire thing over, so we don't want that. So think of this wire as the line of symmetry. You want your loop to be symmetrical above and below this line of symmetry so that the earring hangs in a balanced way. So to start this loop, we're just going to hold this still. Put your like nail here so it bends, and just bend it a little bit. And then here's where you enlist the help of your skinny screwdriver. If you don't have one of these, by the way, you can try using like chopsticks or something. I don't have any better ideas, honestly. But anything that's like cylindrical and this skinny probably works. Okay, so in order to try to keep this symmetrical, we're actually going to put the screwdriver on the opposite side from the bend, like this. And then we're going to loop this wire around it. Then you have it like this. And you have this loop you just made, and you want to twist this wire around the loop to secure it better. And also it just looks pretty. If your fingers aren't giving you enough like twisting power, I guess, you can enlist the help of fat screwdriver. This. Okay, this loop is not turning out great, and I can't really bend it that well, especially with this small amount, so this is exactly why we did this bottom to top. I'm gonna try this again. So leave an inch here. I'm actually gonna do a little more than an inch because judging from how that last thing went, I'm gonna turn this like this to see which way the bend is to like counteract the bend. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, that should be enough room. So I'm gonna do the same process we did before. Your finger. You can actually start the loop with your finger if the screwdriver is not. It's kind of hard to just start it like that. So start the loop with your finger, then get your screwdriver involved. Okay. And now if we just continue this loop like this, it's going to be really lopsided, so we're going to try to straighten it so it follows this line of symmetry. And then you can kind of pull this a little bit to make it a smaller loop, because this loop is a little too big. There we have it. So now you put this back through your screwdriver. Repeat the process we were doing earlier. Okay, again we have this loop, and we're going to wrap the wire around the loop. You can either wrap spiraling upwards or downwards, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now let's make sure this is symmetrical. Yeah, it looks fine. You want to cut this. So you don't want to bend this loop extra, because if you bent this wire extra, it would be like this and kind of harder to cut. This way, this wire is sticking out perpendicular to this loop, which is easier to cut without cutting something else. Yeah, pretty happy with how this looks, so I'm gonna cut. Okay, and the speed ran away. So yeah, that's the top, that's the bottom. We're gonna do the bottom loop now. With the bottom loop, there's a lot more freedom. You don't need to make it symmetrical. There's like less things to worry about. Oh, I just hit myself in the face with the wire. I'm gonna straighten this a little more. Okay, great. Okay, so you start the same way again by making a bend, except this time you can just put your screwdriver on the same side as the inside of the bend, because it makes your life easier and you don't have to make it symmetrical anyways. So loop it around the screwdriver. I'm gonna pull this side a little because I accidentally made this loop too close to that bead. Okay. There. And then, same as before, make the loop, then wrap the wire around the loop. And so I'm going to pull this. That's how you tighten your loop. Just like last time, this is easiest to cut if this is mostly perpendicular to your loop. So, okay, so our next step is to attach this to the earring hook. And the reason why you can't make the hook yourself out of your notebook wire is because this notebook wire is really thick compared to the earring hook wire. And second of all, the cut ends are very sharp and you don't want to poke that through your ear. So yeah. Now there's a few ways to attach this. The easiest and what I'm going to do today is using a jump ring, but a jump ring isn't necessary. You have other options. So first of all, this thing opens on this side. You can like open this and then close it again. I've done it before for this Minecraft Blue Orchid earring that I made. And you can see here that like this is attached without a jump ring, but the problem with it is it only moves side by side. If you attach something with a jump ring, it gives it more flexibility and it can move 360 degrees, which is really cool. And your third option, which would have taken planning ahead earlier, when you were making this loop, you could have, before making the loop obviously, put the loop through this thing and then make the loop around it while also putting your screwdriver here basically, and then like just attach onto here, and then, but it's obviously much easier to just open this and close it. But yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna do is open our jump ring and put it through this, and then put it through the loop on your earring hook. Before you actually close it, you want to like do this, swing it around, make sure you want it like this. Make sure to angle it sort of like this and not like this, because if you close it while it's angled like this, there will be a gap. If you close it angling like this, there won't be a gap. And get it closed as possible as you can with your fingers. With jump rings that are this big, it's pretty easy to close it solely with your fingers, but these small jump rings are really stubborn and hard to close. So what I would do, if this was a small jump ring and it just wouldn't close all the way, I would lay this flat on my desk and make sure it's flat. Then you use this flat, skinny side of your screwdriver to just push it down. Okay. Lay it flat, push it down.